Words are weapons, advocates of restricting hate speech like to say, and I agree. Words are weapons. That's precisely why we protect them. Weaponized speech is the ideal form of nonviolent political combat. It is especially important to people in positions of relative powerlessness. It has fueled virtually every movement for social change and social justice, including today's student protest movements, which you might point to as evidence that free speech is thriving on campus. The trouble is that so many of these movements aim to punish and suppress other people's speech by labeling them microaggressions, forms of discrimination, again, it's called verbal conduct, or even likening it to violence. But when you confuse the metaphoric power of allegedly hateful speech with actual violence, and I think this is important, when you confuse the metaphoric power of hate speech with actual violence, you risk justifying the use of violence in response to speech.
The act of protesting is not the denial of free speech, it is the exercise of free speech. A central purpose of the university is to allow disputes that too often happen on the battlefield to occur on campus and in classrooms instead. I, for one, am glad that robust discourse, sometimes difficult, is taking place on our campuses. When I hear that student protests are silencing and intimidating people, I scratch my head. Students are advocating for open political discussion, sometimes heated, and justice for all. That is what we philosophers were taught freedom of speech is.